Hey, what's up guys, this is Deepan from TechBrute. Today we're going to see how to make Pfsense as a Radius server. Let's get right to it. So I have two instances of Pfsense running. I'm going to use one of them as a Radius server and one of them as a Radius client. So the first Pfsense column is going to be the Radius server, and Pfsense OS is going to be the Radius client. And first thing we need to do is install the free Radius package. So I'm gonna go and locate this package in the list of available packages and hit install, confirm. I'm gonna repeat the same steps for the other Pfsense instance. Look for available packages. I'll look for the actual package and hit install. So this will take a couple of minutes. So once we have all that, we need to create a user under the free Radius. And I already have a user named Batman, and I'm gonna use that user. Give it any password you like, and save the settings that you have. So another thing is you need to make sure you configure class an attribute, reply attribute as admins, and this is because we are using another Pfsense that's a Radius client, and Pfsense requires a class for admins, and we have admin, like a default group that has a list of users with admin privileges. That's why we're adding this attribute, and and please note that for different Radius clients this setup has to be different. So if you go to the user manager and the groups, as you can see, you see a default admin group that has one member, that is the default user, which is admin. So every time you log in with this user, it will be assigned with this group and you'll have admin privileges. And now I'm gonna go and create an NAS client. I already have that created. So add the client IP address as the Radius client IP address. And I have the IP here. I'm gonna change it. I'm gonna put the right IP. So I copy the public IP of the other Pfsense instance, and I'm gonna paste that there, and that will be the client IP address. So another important thing is the client shared secret key. Enter the shared secret key. And I'm using protocol UDP. I'm gonna leave it that way, and let's save that. So we have the NAS client, and we need to configure which interfaces it's gonna listen on. And since we're on GCP, we might not see the public IP directly. So this IP is actually my WAN interface IP, that the interface that has a public IP on it. So we need to make sure we have rules in place. So as you can see, I have rules in place for both the PF instances for the port 1812 and UDP protocol. These are the networks that I'm using on both the Pfsense that is acting as the WAN interface. So the next configuration we need is we need to configure authentication server on the Radius client. So let's go to authentication server, and I already configured the Radius authentication server on the Radius client. I'm gonna go there and make sure that I have the right shared secret key. Remember when we created on the Radius server, we just entered the shared secret key, and this has to match so that they work. So, and the next thing I would like to do is make sure I have rules in the WAN interface. So I do need to enable that. Before I test, there's a way we can test this, but this would not work. But I will get that ready right now, enter the password and keep it ready. But we need a setting to make sure that works. That, you guessed it right, that's the rule. I already created a rule I'm gonna enable that again, and that should allow the radius requests coming into the van address. So I'm applying the changes, and I would have to update the right IP address because this is a rule that I used in the past. I'm gonna use the right IP address because this is going to be the source or the radius client. I'm gonna add that IP address. I just want to be as precise as possible. I don't want to leave that open, leave an open rule. So I'm applying the changes. I have added the right IP address. I have every rules in place. I have the ports open on both GCP and the Pfsense. So let's test it. There we go. We got the user is classified in admin group as we planned, and you can see the state table that we have the state formed with that port. So we successfully have configured radius authentication. Now it's time to test it. So we have to make sure that in the settings we select the authentication server we created, save it. Now we're logging out. Let's check the new user that we just created. Alright, the username is Batman. I'm gonna enter the credentials for it. Okay. Alright, I see that we finally logged in. Thanks for watching, guys. If you have any questions, drop them on the comment section, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.